Thank you all for joining us. This means so much. We're really excited to bring you tonight's workshop, How to Build Your Business Plan, led by one of our partners from US Bank, Liz Da Broy. A quick intro to MBA for those of you who are not familiar. I just wanted to share a little bit about why we do the work that we do, and why it's so important to us. MBA exists to support small businesses, especially those owned by women, minority, and veteran and LGBT communities. Whether you're just starting out and don't know where to begin, or you've been in business for a while but need to pivot or scale, we're here to help. Over the past 5 years, we've supported hundreds of businesses across California, helping with everything from forming LLCs and S Corps to getting certified, whether that's, again, minority, women, veteran, or LGBTQ owned, to funding and then also creating growth strategies that actually work. Right now, we're really focused on getting our members contract ready for some of the big events that are coming to LA County in the next few years, such as FIFA 2026, Super Bowl 2027, and then the Olympics 2028. These are really big opportunities for small businesses to gain visibility, clients, and momentum. If you're interested in learning more about becoming a member or how we can help your business, I'm going to drop our website in the chat, so please feel free to check it out after the session. At MBA, we believe that education is key to growing a strong business. Workshops like tonight are part of how we make sure our community has the tools and resources and confidence to succeed. Now let me introduce Liz, someone that I truly enjoy partnering with. Liz has been a really strong supporter, and although our partnership is fairly new, she's brought such an incredible dynamic and just resources for our communities, really impactful. She brings over 10 years of experience in small business banking and support. And this year she was recognized as a top 100 bankers by the Los Angeles Business Journal. So congrats, Liz. Her knowledge is practical, accessible, and full of gems that will help you start thinking seriously about how to position your business for growth and retention. A few housekeeping rules. Please stay on mute during the presentation. You're welcome to drop questions in the chat, and then we'll get to them during the Q&A. If you're driving, please keep your camera off for safety. And then I'm also going to drop additional links and documents in the chat. Some of the links are going to be for, like I mentioned before, our website. And then we also have a file that is meant for you to go along and fill it in as Liz is speaking, or you can do it later with the knowledge that you'll have. So again, thank you all for joining us. And without further ado, please help me welcome Liz Da Broy.
Thank you so much, Diana, for the warm introduction. As Diana mentioned, my name is Lizbeth Da Broy. I represent US Bank. I have had the pleasure of working with US Bank for 13 years as now a business access advisor. So throughout those 13 years, I have had the experience of working with small business owners, but particularly in this role, what I do is provide financial literacy, work one-on-one with small business owners, and helping them navigate access to capital information and the most important resources. So the best part about my job is I get to teach and facilitate these type of workshops to be able to educate you as a small business owner on how to grow and thrive. So if you like, Diana, we can go ahead and kick off the presentation.
Perfect.
Oh, actually, so that's the participant guide. I'm sorry. Let me forward you really quickly, if it's okay, the actual presentation. Let's see. It'll take me 2 minutes to send it over.
No problem.
We do have that participant guide, though, if you are able to share it with the attendees. It would be beneficial. They can follow along as well.
Fantastic. Should I send that after, or should we go with the presentation?
We can go with the presentation. I just sent it over, and then you can send over the participant guide after.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, give it just one moment to come through.
So as you're pulling that up, I can just share again. We recently launched, and I'll share with you all the QR code for our US Bank Business Resource Central is what we call it. You don't have to be a client of ours to take advantage of the courses that are available for you. You're able to check it out. I will share the QR code where you can scan it and browse through the website. But I know Diana mentioned some contracting opportunities for the Olympics that are coming up. We do have a really great course on there. As I mentioned before, these courses range from 20 to 30 minutes. The neat thing about them is you're able to take them at your own time. And it doesn't require you to complete them in full. But there is one specifically that I think you would all benefit from, which is securing contracts with large buyers. Um, that might be beneficial. There's also others on, how to scale your business with AI, by business financial health. It goes over credit and profitability for your business. So I just encourage you all, once we do pull up the slides and go over the presentation, as I mentioned, there is a QR code that will be shared with you if you'd like to just browse through that site. And if you need additional information, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Like I mentioned, the neat thing about my role is you don't have to be a US Bank client for me to work with you. So I can connect with you one-on-one and just provide you access to these amazing resources that are free of cost, and they're just there to provide you additional knowledge as a business owner.
Question, Liz, is this the
Yes.
correct one?
Let's see.
Let me share it.
Of course.
Okay.
No, I keep sending. Did I just send you the participant guide again?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That is okay. Let's see. Sorry about that.
No worries. Hold on. I did get a new one come through. Give me 1 second.
Oh, okay. So it might
Let me
be
see if it's this one.
Participant, and then okay, I'm gonna send it one more time, the actual presentation, in hopes that you didn't get it.
Okay. Please. Sorry, all bear with us while we have our technical difficulties.
All righty.
Let me try this one. Let's see.
Okay, just sent it over.
This looks like it might be the same one.
Okay, so I might have sent over the same participant guide. I just hosted this workshop on Monday, so I think that's what was. I'm going through my recently shared. Okay, the last email is the actual presentation.
Tell me if this is it.
Yes, we got it. Awesome.
Got it.
Thank you, Diana.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone,
Perfect.
for bearing with us.
No problem.
We will talk today about developing a business plan. So we can go ahead and skip to the third slide. And the third slide is going to share the QR code. So I'll give you about a minute or two for those that would like to browse through the website. I can also share the link through the chat, which I will go ahead and do so now. That way you are able to access the amazing site that we recently launched. Let's see. And then we can go ahead and get started.
Awesome.
Okay. So the agenda for today, what we will be covering is the business model canvas and the difference between a business model canvas and an actual business plan, and how those two will tie in together. We will walk through identifying your brand, and as we're going through this workshop, think about your business. So if you have the ability to take note. As we're going through the examples, it's okay for you to write down things that come to mind when you're considering your business in developing a business plan. You may have one already, and a lot of the times you may not. And it's okay to fine tune it if needed, or revisit it and make updates and changes as business is growing. And then we will ultimately get into how to develop a business plan. So a business model canvas, it's going to be the visual approach. It's very simple to put together. So we'll talk about the difference. So what we recommend is that you start off with a business model canvas and then use that information to develop a traditional plan. And I'll go through the example of what that looks like in a second. Your business model canvas is going to be a great tool to narrow down several business ideas so you can select the best one. So, if you're thinking about starting a business and you're at the stage where you have different ideas that you'd like to conquer, it doesn't have to be different types of businesses that you'd like to start, but maybe different ideas that you want to bring into your one business model. You can start just jotting down all of those ideas. And this is going to allow you a visual perspective to look at the big picture. And then it's going to provide a solid foundation for you to start your business. The business plan is often going to be a requirement for formal funding investment requests for your business. So many times, if you are in the startup phase or you don't have, that minimum 2 years in business requirement, and you're looking for some sort of investment and you're seeking capital through an investor, through a community development financial institution, and don't quite have the financials to support the startup business or where the business is growing, this is going to be a good professional document for you to be able to bring and share about your business idea. And it's just going to make you look as a business owner more polished and organized. This is going to also provide detailed descriptions, summaries, and lists. And it's going to be methodical. So it'll allow you to take time and think about your business details and how it's going to continue to grow. So even if you don't necessarily need it to access capital, as a business owner, as I mentioned before, while you're developing this or revisiting it and fine tuning it, you will find maybe some areas of opportunity for your business or some strengths that you can continue to grow upon. So we can go ahead and look at a business model canvas component. And then as I'm going through it, Diana, you'll want to just hit the arrow because each section will come up
Got
as
it.
I'm going through it. So first, you'll list your company name, your industry type, date, and version. This is really a very simple model. It doesn't require much writing or it will require some thought process. But the neat thing about it is you're literally just jotting down your ideas and things that are coming to mind. So as far as key partners, some examples of what that may look like, you can go ahead and hit the, there you go. This is going to include your buyers, your suppliers, and other alliances that will help you accomplish core business activities. And then you're going to want to list what are your key activities. So what are the most important activities that you must engage in to fulfill your value proposition? So this is going to help you manage your time as a business owner and identify what is going to be most important for you to spend time on. Your key resources are going to be that you're going to need to create value for your customers and sustain your business. So what do those resources look like that you're going to need to create value for your business, for your customers? And then the most important is your value proposition, something that a lot of small business owners, I think this is one of the very first ideas that come to mind, right? When you're thinking about starting a business is going to be what is the value that's bringing to your customer. So the products and services you will offer, what are they? What customer needs do they need? And how will your business differ from your competition? So here this section may require some research and identifying who your competition is, who you would aspire to be like, and then identify what's going to make your business different from your competitors. Customer relationships. How are you going to build your relationships with your customer segments? So as I mentioned earlier, I hosted this workshop earlier this week, and I had a business owner who they're starting their own deli sandwich food truck business. And when we mentioned this section, she mentioned, she was having a hard time because she wants to be able to service everybody, all ages, from children all the way to people elderly that are over 100 years old. She said she wants to sell to everyone. And That's great, right? As a business owner, we would all love to do that. And if we have the ability to do that, then great. That's how our business would be successful. But really, narrowing down who your customer segment is and how will you make that connection with them. And that can be through social media. It could be through maybe stamp loyalty cards. So, really identifying, and if you don't know because you're a startup business, what I encouraged her to do is think about the ideal customer for your business. And once you start to maybe, Sal Dally sandwiches is what I mentioned to her. Like when she actually makes the sandwiches, I try to observe and see what's the age group of clients that you're having walk in, or what's the demographic of the clients that you're having purchase sandwiches from you. So, and that's going to definitely help you narrow it down. So, in the beginning, you can put all types of customers, but as you're getting to know your business, it's okay to go back and make that change if needed. What channels will you be using? So, are we going to be distributing marketing through snail mail to target your customers? Are you going to be doing emails? Will you be utilizing social media? And what platforms are you going to be using? So, keeping up with Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, it's a lot. So, really identifying which platform is going to best benefit your business to target your customers is going to be a great starting point to list what channels you want to focus in. And again, with the customer segments, very similar to customer relationships, this is going to be the set of customers you will serve, including which segments are most important to your business. So if you are a business that's servicing all types of customers, really try to narrow down, like I said, age, demographics, location. And the most important is the cost structure. So, what is everything going to cost you? So, this is where you're going to list your key costs. So, you will include which resources, activities are going to cost you the most. That can be your rent, it could be your supplies. And then the most important is your revenue stream. How are you going to price your items? And at what value will you be pricing them? So we can go ahead and hit next. There you go. And then the most important thing that I love to always mention is how are you going to get paid? As a startup business owner, majority of the times we always resort to Zelle, Venmo, cash, right? That's the ideal way or form of payment when you're starting a business because the costs are low, if there's any. And it's just convenient, as you know, it goes directly into your account. But really start to think as your business starts to grow, how can you make the payment process easier on your customers? I recently, my brother ventured out and he owns his taco business on the side, and he makes tacos for family and friends, and he likes to cater for events. And he decided to he decided to join a pop up for the very first time. And this happened a few months ago, and I helped him with, taking orders and charging customers. And he didn't quite think it through because he didn't have a business plan or a business model even put together. But we faced the challenge of when it came to charging the customers. Yes, he accepted Zelle. Yes, he accepted Venmo and cash, but there were quite a few customers that didn't have access. They didn't have cash. They didn't have access to Zelle or Venmo. They only had their physical credit card. And, a conversation that we had with him after, because we did lose a lot of sales, was, having a device that's connected to your phone isn't costly. There's a lot of companies. US Bank is one. We do own Alavon, which is a payment processing where you can actually get the device, attach it to your cell phone, and it's a card swipe where you're able to charge customers. And like I said, it's not something that's going to cost you much. And even if you aren't at that stage, become educated, do a price comparison on what that'll cost you. That way you can start to incorporate that into your business plan as well. And as your business grows, you already have a plan to venture out and accept card payment. So we can go ahead and continue. So this is just a example. Oh, sorry. This
Go
is
ahead,
an
sorry.
example of Joe's food truck, right? And if I was putting together a business model canvas and I own Joe's food truck, some of my key partners are going to include my commissionary, event managers, business owners, maybe some chambers of commerce. And then what are the key activities what's gonna take up majority of my time? It's gonna be purchasing, preparation, the storage, food and beverage delivery. Who are my key resources? That's gonna be maybe event planning, relationships, social media presence, staff, event locations. And then my value proposition, I'm going to be a fresh and local ingredient driven cuisine that is available at select events and market driven locations. Another example may include products are offered at a competitive price for a significant quality offered. So, I serve lots of food for a reasonable price. That's always enticing, especially now with food prices having gone up so high. And then how do I want to develop my customer relationships? So I want to develop return customers through social media presence, return engagement booking. So that may be, constantly posting my menu items on social media and keeping track of how much activity or likes I'm getting on a post, and which posts are getting more traction. Is it me recording my food items? Is it me posting about my event and the turnout? Or is it me posting about future events that I'm going to be at? Do I notice that, my social media following is showing up? And what does that online presence look like? And then who do I want to focus on? So very similar to what my client said on Monday, but I'm thinking this out and I want to seek an adult foodie, customer base that values healthy, delicious cuisine. So I'm really sticking to the healthy meals. So I'm going to target the adults, right? So I might not, have many items that are kid friendly, because my goal is to be able to target, an adult that's seeking healthy items, but is able to explore with different flavors. And what is my cost structure? So I'm going to assume, right? This can be just a guesstimate. If you know, then great. But my range will be 14 to 17% is going to of the money that I utilize for my business. 14 to 17% of it is going to be for food costs. 7% is going to be the cost of fuel and supplies. You got to consider I have to drive to these events. I'm going to need supplies. 20% of labor costs. I can't do it all on my own. I might need to hire somebody to start, help me. Maybe that's another cook. And like I said, that maybe that's somebody that's charging the customers and taking orders. And then consider the booth costs for vendor event entry. So if you're a food truck and you're hosting at an expo or at a pop-up, there's usually fees to be a vendor at these types of events. So take that into consideration as well. And my revenue streams. So the food that I sell is going to be priced 6 times the cost of what it actually takes or costs me to make the item. And then, like I said, the payment, what type of payment am I going to receive from the customer? I'm going to receive cash or card sales. I love that they add through US Bank payment services. But again, you're welcome to do your research and find out what's going to benefit you the most on what's going to cost you the least, less fees. We do have a very competitive merchant processing service. So our rates are extremely good. And then cash will account for 85% of the sales. Nowadays, that I think this is a little outdated. A lot of us do tend to pay mostly with cashless options. We prefer cards over cash. So, maybe now if I was to revise this, I would fine tune that and change that percentage and lower it down a bit. So we can go ahead and continue. The participant guide is going to have a blank form that you can go back and utilize to fill out your business canvas. So we will share that with you after the presentation. So now the most exciting thing is identifying your brand. So representing your company and your unique business model. So your brand identity. This is going to list who is your company, what does your company do, what industry are you in, and try to go beyond the obvious. So there's a lot of industries, but what makes you stand out compared to your competitors or other industry types that are out there? So what makes you unique? What does your company do? Why do you do what you're doing? What's your unique selling proposition? And what's the personality of your business? And what's your product and service? So how would you describe your product or service? And when you're thinking about this, think about it as you're having a conversation with a family or a family member or a friend. How do you truly describe your product or service? Be passionate about it. That's what's going to make you stand out compared to your competitors. What are the features of your product or service? What are you extremely excited about that you offer? And again, your target customer. Really narrow down on how would you describe your target customer? Who is that? What does that look like? What needs does your product fulfill for them? Again, we all, we make a business to fulfill a need. So what does that look like? And how is it going to fulfill that need for them? So things to consider as we're going through this section is for your company. Again, what does your company do? What's your industry type? What's your unique selling proposition if you don't have one already? And what's the personality of your business? Think about what are the features of your product and service, and then what is your product going to fulfill for your customers. And then now we're going to go right into the traditional business plan. This is going to it's going to take a little bit more information to put together, and that's okay. I will go through an example of what an actual business plan may look like. So why write a business plan? So we discussed, at times you might need a traditional business plan if you're seeking capital, if you're methodical and want to take time to develop a comprehensive plan. So not necessarily to show to somebody, just to, maybe talk to your employees through or your investors through, or just for yourself to be able to identify where you are. You want to maybe document operating fundamentals and marketing strategies. So say, for instance, you are already a business that's well established, but maybe want to think about other ways to market yourself because you've noticed sales are decreasing, or you're not getting as much, new customer engagement. Then maybe this is a good time to revisit a business plan or make one if you don't have one already. Again, this could be done if your company, is experiencing growth, transition, or expansion. You plan to ask for financing for investors or apply for a business loan. So, as I mentioned before, community development financial institutions or private investors may request a business plan if you haven't been in business or don't have the solid or strong financials for your business to be able to seek credit. Traditional banking, however, we don't ask for a business plan. We will want to see those 2 years of your business financials as far as your balance sheets, profit and loss statements, your taxes. and obviously credit. But this is going to be more for, like I said, an investor, a private investor, or a community development financial institution. So let's get into what is in a business plan. So a business plan is going to include your executive summary, your company description, market research for your business, products and service line, proprietary considerations, marketing and sales plan, and other structures to consider. We won't be covering this, but it's going to be your operational plan, your startup expenses and capitalization, and your financial plan. So we are going to do a sample business plan. I am going to pretend that I am the owner of We Can Do It Consulting. I will be Rebecca Champ, and this was created back in December 29, 2023. So my executive summary as the owner of We Can Do It Consulting. So the product and service that I offer at We Can Do It Consulting, we provide consultation services to small and medium-sized companies. Our services include office management and business process reengineering to improve efficiency and reduce administrative costs. So that's my value proposition, right? And who are my customers? The target audience for We Can Do It Consulting is business owners, human resource directors, program managers, presidents, or CEOs, and with 5 to 500 employees who want to increase productivity and reduce overhead costs. Specifically, we specialize in consulting white-collar executives on office processes such as job tracking, production, getting the most out of meetings, leadership, financial, or hiring best practices, and other needs relevant to potential customers who serve in a management role within smaller or large organizations. So this section here, if you notice, I'm really narrowing down who my target customer is. It doesn't have to be as specific, but for maybe this consulting business, it needs to be, right? So I'm discussing, the size of the companies that I want to work with, are between 5 and 500 customers. And then what are the industry types that I'm seeking to work with as a consulting business? And I listed some of those, like human resource directors, program managers, and so on and so forth. And what's the future of the company? So, consulting is fast-paced. It's an evolving industry. In response to this climate, We Can Do It Consulting will offer other services, including facilitation and requirement analysis in the future. So this section here is really going to help you determine what are some strengths of the industry type that you're in, and what are maybe some opportunities for you to grow in the future that you would like to focus in. So when you're thinking about an executive summary for your product or your service, you're going to want to use the following topics to help create a product or service description. So definitely include your business name and your product or service idea. List the special benefits or unique features, limits and liabilities, and intellectual property permits, and your production and delivery, including your suppliers as well. So, customers and future of the company. So for customers, go ahead and hit enter, Diana. Awesome. So your customer section is going to include detailed information about your company, the problems that your business is going to solve for them, your consumer, organization, or businesses your company plans to serve. So when you're thinking about developing that, narrow down to who are your customers going to be. And then what is the future of the company? So this is going to include a short explanation of any future plans that you have to grow your business. So Another example is going to be our company description. So my mission statement at We Can Do It Consulting is going to be to provide quality services to our clients that help their companies prosper and grow. One sentence, straight to the point. Principal members, myself, Rebecca Champ, I'm the owner primary consultant. Guy Champ, he's the business manager in sales, who's also my business partner. And Sophie Roberts is going to be the account manager. It's very small, only 3 employees, and that's okay. We are an S corporation incorporated in Greenville, South Carolina. Another key thing to know is your legal structure, and educate yourself on what type of legal structure your business is going to have. You might want to, seek different resources to get recommendations on what is going to be best for you for tax purposes. You might want to discuss it with your CPA. But if you don't have a legal structure already, this is a great time to start considering what options are available for you. So for your company description, you're going to want to list your statement, your mission statement, and include an outline of your company's main agenda. And then what are those benefits to your customers? Who are your principal members? So who are the owners, your partners, your key stakeholders? And again, the legal structure. As we just mentioned, the company structure, are you going to be a for-profit or nonprofit business? So your market research is going to consist of 4 categories. That's going to be your industry, customer details, company advantages, and regulations. So how do I obtain market research? We will, at the end of this presentation, we will share a few resources and websites where you can access and obtain your own market research. But generally through trade publications or industry reports, and we will provide how to access those as well. SBA demographic information. Talk to potential customers through social media. I think that is something that we don't utilize enough as small business owners, but it's okay to have polls on your social media business account to identify, what's working for your business. I think a lot of us, it's a free service, right? You don't need to necessarily pay for that on social media. So, just a basic, simple poll on social media can really give you a lot of information and market research on your business. Employee market research group. This is going to be costly though, so just consider the cost for hiring a market research group. Research your competition. This is so important. It's identifying the business that you aspire to be like. When we think about the word competition, we think about almost like, oh no, we're like in, it's not always the greatest feeling to consider that business, but really seek them as a company you would aspire to be like. So identify what are their strengths and how can you model those same behaviors that they're doing. And also, who are their clients? Identify how they're targeting their clients. Get some key things that they're doing that maybe you can start to incorporate, and that doesn't cost you anything either. And then test the business idea with small sample size. So if you are a product, make a smaller version of your product that's not going to cost as much and sample it out. I think this is more specific to if you have maybe a food item or, something that like lotions or makeup or things of that nature that you can actually make a sample of it and get feedback from your customers or the people that are utilizing your product and asking for that feedback. So don't just hand out the samples, but also, hey, customer, I would like for you to try this and really give me your feedback on my product. What can I improve on? And just be open to that. So We can do it consulting. The industry we're going to list, we can do it consulting would join the office management and business process improvement consulting industry. Generally, larger consulting firms such as CAD Consulting, so I already identified my competition. Work with international corporations with smaller consulting firms. Work with both large corporations and smaller organizations, usually closer to home. Because consulting firms structured like ours also have a history of working with local, state, and federal government agencies. The consulting industry is still recovering from the economic recession. It was hit hardest in 2009 when the industry shrank. So I'm showing here that I, know where maybe the opportunities are for the business. But I'm also going to list what I can focus on. So, as the economy recovers, the industry is showing signs of growth. A recent study stated that the operation management consulting is projected to grow by 5.1% per year. So I've done some market research. And then what are the detailed descriptions of my customers? So my target customers are business owners, as I mentioned, human resource directors, program managers, presidents, CEOs with 500 to 500 employees. Our potential customers serve in management roles within small organizations that may be challenged by processes, bureaucracy, or technical experts with little leadership experience. And I would like to capitalize on opportunities that are geographically close as we launch our business. We will target the manufacturing, automotive, healthcare, and defense industries. So we can go ahead and continue. So as I mentioned, the industry, when you're doing your market research, is going to include an overview of your specific industry, some state boundaries, the size, growth, challenges, and outlook of your industry. And then again, a detailed description of your customers. So a comprehensive understanding of your customer base, your market demographic information, and how your products are going to cater to them. So again, as I mentioned, you're going to be utilizing, if you don't already have a business model canvas, I would encourage you to, do one. Like I said, it doesn't have to be as detailed as your business plan, but if you jot down some ideas or things that are coming to mind as you're thinking about your business model canvas, you can utilize those as you're building and developing your business plan. And then it's also going to help you fine tune your details on your brand identity. So this is just going to go over, again, some company advantages. I won't read through them. And some regulations for We Can Do It Consulting. So it's just a market research continued page. So some company advantages for your business are going to include expertise in your industry, location information, your SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis, or SWOT, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for your business. Supplier condition information, and then some regulations to consider. So what are the licenses that you're going to need? So if I was still thinking about Joe's food truck, if I'm selling food items, there's some licenses and certifications that are needed in order to service customers, specifically in the hospitality field. So, being aware of what those are, what the costs are, is going to be extremely important. Again, certifications. We talked about earlier the Olympics and, wanting to be a vendor or benefit from the Olympics being in LA. And we talked a little bit about supplier diversity and securing contracts. A lot of those require the proper certification. So this is a good time to, do some research on what types of certifications are required and what is it going to cost you, and are they all required for the type of industry that you're in? And then any special training you're going to need to be able to do business in the type of industry that you're in. So this is another business plan sample for the services that I offer. We can do it consulting, such as, business process reengineering analysis, analytics, change management, risk management. My pricing structure will also be included on here. So we're going to be charging at an hourly rate using the following labor categories and rates. So this is just, these don't have to be accurate. Your pricing structure, they can change, they can increase over time. But it's important to list them, because in the beginning, or when as you're doing this, maybe that price structure made sense to you, but you're noticing that that item or that service isn't being sold as frequently, and maybe pricing needs to be adjusted a little bit, or maybe it's selling a lot where you could afford to increase your prices a tad bit. It's good to be able to list all of your pricing and understand where you are, and how often that should be updated and changed. And what's your product life cycle? So all services are ready to be offered to clients pending approval of contracts. If you are a shelf product, how long is it good for? When does it expire? And that's going to also take into consideration, how much of it you should order, because the last thing you want to do is over order and then those things not get sold, and now you're in a loss of that. For your products and services, as I briefly mentioned already, you're going to want to include, the product or service offerings, your brand identity. For your pricing structure, you want to be specific with, the revenue, what's going to cost you, the cost of goods sold, and what's going to be your overall profit. What are your direct costs that drive cost of goods sold? And then, your gross profit, revenue, and your gross margin. You're going to want to identify, how much are you profiting compared to the revenue, and so on. And then what's your product lifestyle? As I just mentioned, this is a time to consider production, and then the shelf life of the product as well. So this for We Can Do It Consulting is just going to briefly cover like intellectual property rights. So I'm already working, or I have already trademarked the name in the state of South Carolina where my business is in. And I've also filed for the protection of our proprietary processes and other intellectual property, such as our logo. And the research and development. So the company is planning to conduct the following research and development. So I'd like to create a custom technology solution for manufacturers of vehicles, such as automobiles or airplanes, that help better track each manufactured piece and its status of the assembly process. And then determine the need for additional consulting services within our market related, to try and improve processes to opportunities for increased sales. So we can go ahead and continue. And then I'm going to list a few things to consider when you're considering your proprietary considerations. So this is going to include any trademarks, patents, or copyrights. And then for your research and development, you're going to want to include any research and development projects that you're working on. And then what's the cost associated with those research and development projects that you have. And this is going to cover, We Can Do It Consulting. My plan to grow, so my growth strategy is going to be to network at manufacturing, automobile industry, and healthcare conferences. So when you're thinking about your business, what's your plan to grow? It doesn't have to be, it could be maybe one list. You don't have to list 3 different ways you're going to grow. Maybe it could be, just one for now. And once you conquer that, then, explore how you can continue or expand. Your customer communication. How are you going to communicate with your customers? So I'm going to be meeting with local managers within targeted companies. As I mentioned, I'm going to be using social media, and I'm going to be very specific with Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I will provide contact information on the company website as well. And then sales and marketing strategies. So as far as now, we only have one person in charge of sales. As profits increase, we would like to add an additional employee to assist with account management and coordination. And then that individual, I would hope, will also provide companies social media and online marketing support. So uh, when you're thinking about sales and marketing, it may be, hiring another individual, or it may be also paying for a different service. It doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't have to cost you hiring somebody else to assist with the business. It may just be at this point, a database that you're going to be using to improve your sales and marketing. So when you're thinking about growth strategy, some key items to include are going to be your short and long-term goals for your growth, customer benefits, opportunities to increase gross margins, and KPIs and milestones. When you think about customer communication, that may look like emails, mailers, meetings, or telephone calls. This is a little outdated. I think I would switch that to text messages, social media, maybe in person, like actual, networking events or expos to give your business exposure, and telephone calls. I don't know if we answer those spam calls anymore. So, think about, and this business plan was written 2 years ago. So it's a good time for me to start making those changes and fine tuning that. And when you're thinking about sales and marketing strategy, so this is going to include your research-based data, maybe some data that you capture through social media, advertising, or networking. So in your participant guide, like I mentioned, will be shared with you after. I also have at US Bank, we're able to provide you all a blank PowerPoint presentation that goes through an actual business plan format. If you would like to access it, I will share my information on the chat. And you could I'll be more than happy to email it directly to you, and you can go ahead and input your business information as well. We can go ahead and continue. So today, I hope that I covered the following and provided you, beneficial, useful information on a business model canvas and how easy it is to really develop one. Identifying your brand and the importance of that to be able to narrow down who your target customers are and how you want to run your business. Thinking about, the revenues and the way that you're going to price your business, or price your products and services. And then more than anything, the importance of building a business plan. There's many resources that are available to you that we also are able to provide you access to if you need somebody to guide you and sit with you and actually help you with developing a business plan. There's many resources that are out there that they'll be able to do this for you at no cost to you. So definitely reach out and we can assist you with getting in contact with those resources. And at this point, if it's okay with you, Diana, I know we have a little bit of time left. We can open it for Q&A.
Yes, I would love that. Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, does anybody want to come off mute and ask any questions or type it in the chat? Please feel free.
Diana, can you please resend the Canva worksheet that we have for them?
Yes, I will do that. And then if you guys don't mind also leaving your name and email in the chat, I can send you not only this one that MBA has created, but also the one that Liz was sharing with us as well.
I don't exactly have a question, but I wanted to say thank you, Lizbeth, for your time and just educating us and hopefully being able to use your resources in the future.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate you investing your evening and your time into learning more about how to improve and grow your business.
Thank you. And thank you for hosting, Diana. I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. Anybody have any questions?
No, but I kind of want to give a shout out here to both Maddie and Mia. we have a grand opening happening on July 19th in, I believe it's Huntington Beach. Yeah,
Yeah.
Maddie. Okay, yeah. So go ahead and share that a little bit.
Yeah, so actually, we are franchising from Rancho Cucamonga to Orange County, Huntington Beach more specifically. We offer services of body sculpting, teeth whitening, and spray tans. And so we'd love to extend the invite. Um, Either Maddie or I will put that in the chat as far as the location, time, and just a little flyer for that. Thank you, Roberto.
Yes, please share. If you guys are available, we would be happy to have you there. MBA is hosting the ribbon cutting ceremony there, so we're really excited to see these businesses grow and expand and build to the dreams and legacy that they were meant to. So thank you so much for sharing, Mia.
Thank you, Diana. I appreciate that.
And lastly, I want to give another shout out here to Francesca. If you're available, please share a little bit about what your company does. I think it's such a great system that is being brought in. And Diana, she's a brand new member, and we're really happy to have her.
Sorry, I'm at the lake and I don't look so great, but it's okay. I was able to get on to. So thank you, Roberto. We are My Side. We're a community connection app, and we're about connecting small businesses like they've never been connected before. We're about micro connections in the sense of in your community. It's like a Yelp meets LinkedIn. Yelp lets you say, this is where I'm at. LinkedIn lets you tell your story. So we really do that in a smaller sense of that 5 to 10 mile radius of connecting everybody together and you getting your name out there. I was a personal chef for 15 years, and all of the roadblocks I hit marketing myself is where this was created because I knew people wanted what I had. How was I going to get to them? Social media today, you're getting out to the people you know in Oklahoma or you know in Spain. But all I had were my services that I can do in my small little area. So I wanted to connect to them. People are looking for you, they want you, they just don't know how to find you. So that's how we created My Side, is to really connect the community like it hasn't been connected.
Amazing. We're excited. We're excited for you. Do you mind dropping a link or some info in the chat so everybody can look it up as well?
Yes.
And then everybody else, if you please don't mind putting in your name and email so we can send out this info to you. I also want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. And a quick reminder that if you want to reference this video because there was a lot of information, but it's very useful information, you can reference it on our YouTube channel at Multicultural Business Alliance so that you can go through and fill in those Canvas business models or business plans that we provided. Thank you again all for your time. We really appreciate you. If there's no further questions, I don't want to keep you. I do love that you all were able to hop on and get insight from Liz and just start growing that legacy that we talked about, right? The reason that we're all here is because we have missions and visions that are greater than what we ever expected. And Multicultural Business Alliance and partners like Liz and others, we're always happy to support in any way we can. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Diana. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. You guys as well.
Thank you so much. It definitely gave me a format to follow, kind of gave me a better idea of what I need to focus on.
I love to hear that. I'll stay on for a few more minutes so everybody can leave their name and emails in the chat. But thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
What is there one in the camp? Javier, it's so great to see you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, man. I love seeing you guys.
Right on. We look forward to seeing you at our next event as well.
Yeah, my calendar's crazy, but I'll try to make time.
August 9th. Save the date. Liz, you
Okay.
too, please. August 9th.
August 9th, what Roberto is mentioning is our Legacy Awards installation. It's going to be hosted here in the city of Rancho Cucamonga. We will have invites within the next week or so sent out to you guys. If you guys can make it, there's going to be food. We're going to highlight small businesses, and we're also going to have some liquor and alcohol tastings by one of our preferred liquor stores in the area. She does great community-based work, so we're happy to highlight her. And just other great, amazing partners. It's a great chance to come out, network, and meet new small businesses in the area. As you know, being a small business is not easy, so we really want to make sure that we support each other any chance we can.
Thank you all for the workshop. This was awesome. Good information.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you for joining us, our ambassador from Long Beach. Thank you.
Of course.